to the second day of Bristol Data Week. This session today we'll be hearing about careers in data science. I'm Christiane Fernay, so I am the Research Development Associate at the Jean Golding Institute. Today's session, I was just going to start with this very short introduction, and then we'll get into the talks about careers in data science. The first talk we'll hear from Luke Stoughton, who's the Global Head of Recruitment at the Information Lab. And then after that, we'll hear from Emma Karoune, who's a Senior Researcher at the Alan Turing Institute. And once we've had these talks, we'll go into a question and discussion session at the end. So you have an opportunity, a good 15 minutes opportunity to ask lots of questions if you have them. So that's all from me for now. I am going to pass over to Luke. Luke, over to you.
Thanks, Christiane. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming along today. It's always nice to participate in Data Week. I've been doing it for a few years now in various different scenarios. So today, I'm going to talk about our recruitment process at the Data School and the Information Lab, and it's a bit different to kind of normal, in quote marks, recruitment processes. So let me move on. So I will share these slides with you. I'll go through some of them pretty quickly, given the time constraints that we've got. So my name is Luke. My job title is Global Head of Recruitment at the Data School. Today is actually my 9th anniversary at the company. I did about 5 years as a consultant to start with, and then as the business expanded and got more responsibilities with families and stuff like that, I moved into a recruitment side of things. Apologies if you can hear a dog barking, by the way. My dog is clearly angry at something. Here we go. So the Information Lab, what is it? We are a consultancy specializing in data analytics, and we partner with AWS, with Snowflake, Alteryx, and Tableau. The idea being that we can help our customers with every stage of the data journey. We can host their systems in the cloud on AWS. We can store their data in Snowflake, which is a cloud database. We can use Alteryx and SQL to manipulate that data. And finally, we can use Tableau to visualize it. We've been going almost 15 years, and we've got presence across multiple different countries in Europe. It was founded by Tom Brown, who still owns the company. He's been a pretty inspirational person to work for. My background is somewhat unusual for tech. So I did a BA in Spanish back in the day and didn't know what I wanted to do for a career. So I stayed on at Southampton University and did a master's in international relations. I handed in my dissertation, and the week after, September the 11th happened. All of the graduate schemes shut down for the year, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have a job to go to. So I started temping at a bank in London, just making coffee and photocopying, and then eventually got given more work and got really good with Excel, which I still love today. But then that enabled me to jump into data analytics as well. So hopefully what you'll see is that, not studying something data related actually is no barrier to getting into data analytics in particular. And the Data School, which is the side of the business I work on now, is our trainee consulting program. And this was founded in 2015. We hire cohorts of 8 people every 2 months in London. It's fully paid right from the beginning. And the initial stage is 4 months training in our office in St. Paul's in London. But that's fully paid. And after that, you do 4 6-month consulting engagements with a variety of different clients. And we work with pretty much every industry you can think of, banks, consultancies, charities, airlines, sports clubs, football teams, things like that. So the idea is people get a really great rounded appreciation of how data is being used. Again, I'll share these slides with you. I won't go through absolutely everything because of time. And as I mentioned, we've got presence across various different countries. So within Europe, on the Information Lab side of the business, we are present across the places that have the blue location markers. And and in the information lab, we sell licenses. So I mentioned the 4 softwares that we partner with, and we sell licenses for those. The cost to the client is exactly the same as buying it direct, but we offer an additional level of support and training and that sort of thing. And in terms of the data school, we have locations in London, in Hamburg, in New York, which we opened in 2022, and through a partner consultancy in Australia, in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane as well. And bearing in mind, when I started, there were only about 15 of us. We didn't have an office. Everything was with clients or working from home. It's been quite a ride, really, over the last 9 years to where we are today. And we are recognized as being experts in the field, particularly with Tableau and Alteryx, and we have an array of people who have been recognized by the various communities for their contributions to those. Tableau have something called what was called the Zen Master Program. Now it's called the Visionary Program. Alteryx have their ACEs, and these are kind of industry recognized people who are ambassadors for those products, and we have quite a few of them within the company. We're quite unusual in terms of our ethos, really. We are quite a relaxed company to work for, a great fun environment and a supportive environment as well. And it really helps people get the most out of their learning and also go on to some really great careers afterwards. We are committed to diversity. Our gender split at the moment is I think it's 53-47 male female. We want to get that to 50-50 or even better. Traditionally, women are in particular underrepresented in the tech industry, so we're doing our best to rectify that. But really, the crux of this talk and what I want to talk about today is our approach to recruiting, because it's slightly different to most companies, and it revolves really around whether we use CVs or not. And most companies, I think, you will work on your CV or send that off to the company you're applying to. They'll have a look at it and get back to you or not, as the case may be. But we're really trying to increase the participation from the candidate, but also give them a good experience as well. So in terms of CVs, everyone will be familiar with a CV. It's kind of what everyone uses, that method. And for a variety of reasons, as you can see on the screen, they're concise, they're easy to process. If you print them out, it's just a piece of paper, easily updatable in Word. People are familiar with the process of dealing with CVs. And also, they're kind of the recognized way in many cases to apply for jobs, and kids get help at school when they get to the sixth form with their CVs. At university as well, there are careers services that can help with that. Increasingly, AI is being used to process them, which, in my opinion, is quite dangerous. I put it as a pro here because it can help companies that receive thousands of applications sift through them more quickly. And yeah, in the case of Richard Sanchez, who you can see on the screen, I've got no idea who he is. It's a fake CV, but you can design them to look nice. But really, what you're looking at is a bit of paper, and it's difficult to stand out from the crowd when your bit of paper is in a pile with a load of other people's bits of paper as well. So in terms of cons, I think there are more cons than pros for CVs. First of all, they're impersonal, and if you're trying to put down your life story, your qualifications, your interests, etc., onto one bit of paper, inevitably there's going to be things that are missed off. The companies are going to skim read through them. Some people exaggerate on CVs, so it's quite difficult from an employer perspective to check whether what's written is actually accurate. So you are taking people at face value for most cases. But really, my biggest problem with CVs is the criteria that companies set when making their decisions about who progresses in the process. So you end up with a pile of people who are being rejected and a pile of people who are going to go on to the next stage. And what we've seen in the way that we recruit people, there are going to be lots of people who are being arbitrarily rejected because they didn't meet certain grades, they didn't meet, they didn't go to a certain university or study a particular academic discipline, and they're going to go straight in the bin without any chance of pleading their case. And likewise, in the people who are going to be progressed, there will be people within those that selection of people who actually maybe they achieved good things at university or A levels, studied the right subject, but actually they may be really unsuited to the job. So and also people who are being rejected may have had bereavements, they may have been ill, just matured later or whatever at university. So and that there can be bias as well when reviewing CVs as well. So what we try and do is a little bit different. So we try and make it an experience rather than a process for the people who apply to the data school. So this involves spending more time, definitely on our part, reviewing applications. The candidate has to put in a bit more time as well, but essentially it's aptitude-based, what we ask them to do. So they have to find a data set that they're interested in, and could literally be about anything, download the free version of Tableau and then create a dashboard for us, which we will then review. And what we're trying to do really is mimicking a consulting scenario. So when I was a consultant, I worked with loads of clients, and I would turn up at their office. There would be an outline of the project or the dashboard that I had to build. I would then go away, make an initial stab at it, show it to the client, who would then give me feedback, and I'd have to go and create a second draft of it, and so on, and keep going back until it was what the client wanted. So what we're checking is for people who will make good consultants. The technical side of things actually is the easiest bit to teach, as long as people have an underlying skill in terms of numeracy. Then you can teach them pretty much anything with regard to the technologies that you're using. And really we are hoping, and we've seen this on numerous occasions, that people who perhaps might be put off applying for a job in the tech industry will actually do really well and will excel during our process. And also, it's our hope that people who apply to us actually learn something in the process, rather than spending hours filling out some of these lengthy forms that you can put for graduate schemes or other roles. So even in worst case scenario, if they are unsuccessful with us, they have learned something which is an employable skill in the process. And they can always reapply. If they don't get into a particular cohort that they're applying to at the data school, they can always apply to another one as well. And we give feedback to everyone. And really what we're testing is someone going to be a good consultant? And the way that people react to feedback in consulting is really important. It takes a long time to build up relationships with clients, but it takes very little time to completely break down those relationships. So you may have someone who has all the technical skills in the world, but if they're not very good with people, then that client relationship is going to be in jeopardy. So really what we're testing here is an aptitude for picking up new technology, numeracy, but really above all, how people are in terms of their communications. We work with some big companies, for example, PwC. Our consultants may be talking to an entry-level analyst one day and a partner the next day. So they need to be able to communicate to people at all levels of the organization. I won't go through this line by line, but essentially we ask people, as I've said, to create a dashboard for us. We then review it, and they change or make changes based on our feedback. They then go through to a video call with one of our coaches, who will ask some questions about their dashboard, and the candidate will show any stories, any interesting facts that they've found out about in their data set. And then, assuming that goes well, they go through to the final stage, where we choose the data set for all of the finalists. We normally try and make sure that it's something interesting but a bit random. So we would never choose like a football data set, for example, because half the finalists would be really happy about that. Instead, We've had things like Rubik's Cube World Champions, bike crashes in Austin, shark attacks in Australia. My favorite one was the representation of spiders in the media, and whether they're being sensationalized or not. And that was a really interesting data set. And then they have about 10 days to create a final interview dashboard, buddied up with one of our actual data school consultants during that time. And then they come in and do an in-person interview as well. And we make sure that all our finalists receive a phone call, regardless of outcome. And within that phone call, they will receive individual feedback specific to how they've done, which can be in writing as well if they would like that as well. But the idea is that we want people to come away from our process having enjoyed it and having felt that it's something slightly different to every other job application that they've done. In terms of the people that we're looking for, really numeracy is the main thing. We're not after, you know, stats legends or pure maths experts or anything. People who are comfortable working with numbers and who know how to fairly represent data. So things like normalizing data is very important, not just aggregating values. You know, knowing when to use a median instead of an average, that sort of thing, really. But above all, the people skills are the most important thing. So taking feedback, communicating, presenting, things like that. And as a result, we've had some really amazing stories particularly from the backgrounds of people who've joined us. And within this selection of people, we have bottom right, we have Tom, who now works at Deloitte, I believe. And he was a Shakespearean actor, which meant that he was very good at presenting. And we found that there are lots of transferable skills in some pretty crazy backgrounds that actually would get completely just straight out rejected by a lot of companies. So yeah, within this sort of grid of people, we've got an actor, we've got a medical doctor, we've got people with PhDs, people who didn't go to university, teachers. Teachers are really good consultants. Anyone who's had to deal with tricky clients or classroom full of teenagers, most situations that you come up against as a consultant with a client, you'll be able to deal with that pretty effectively. But yeah, we like to think that we've launched people onto careers in data who would never have had that opportunity. And we've got about 300 alumni now who are out in industry. Many of them are now in the position to hire into their own teams. And they tend to come back to us because they know we have people leaving at a regular cadence from the company when they finish at the data school. We offer things like travel. We have lots of clients abroad. We help people with their soft skills as well as their technical skills, and it's a great opportunity to get into data as well. These are some of the benefits. I won't dwell on those. I'll let you read through those in your own time. And we also fully support all of our consultants to take as many exams as they want, certifications. Power BI, we also do in the data school. All of the technologies we partner with have comprehensive certification programs, which are industry recognized now, some of which are free, some of which are paid. We will support everyone to do whichever ones they want. We do have some minimum requirements, which we ask everyone to do, but aside from that, they can go crazy. AWS have thousands of exams that you could do if you wanted to. And then at the end of the time with us at the data school, people have a few options. So first of all, they could apply to join the information lab, which is our other side of the business, which I used to work on, and that's a permanent role. And we fill those kind of as and when we need to hire people. We also actively help people find jobs with our clients as well. You know, as I said, we've got lots of alumni out there now who are keen to hire people that we produce. And thirdly, people can go their own way because there's a whole load of jobs out there. You only have to go on LinkedIn and type in any of these technologies to see the number of jobs that are out there in the job section. I think that's me done. So I went a couple of minutes over. Any questions? I'll be happy to take them. Are we doing questions at the end, Christian?
We'll do questions at the end so we can make
Okay.
sure we get through.
Okay.
So there was one in the chat, but I'll keep a note of it and I'll ask you after. But so thank you so much, Luke. It's really interesting to hear all about the processes at the Information Lab. So next up is Dr. Emma Karoune from the Turing Institute. So over to you, Emma.
Thank you so much. And Luke, that was really interesting. I think I need to chat to you about some things. Yeah, so we'll get connected after. So hi, my name is Emma Karoune, and I'm from the Alan Turing Institute, and also I will talk a bit about the Turing Way project, which is one of our kind of open educational data science projects. So I'll talk a bit about that at the end. I think you've already seen my sort of little blurb, so I won't go into it too much. I work as a senior researcher in our open infrastructure program, which is called Tools, Practices and Systems. And I actually co-lead a team of research community managers. I'm also going to tell you a bit about that during this talk. But my background is in open research. I work on multiple projects. I would say I'm very much a generalist, so I have a lot of transferable skills that I bring to lots of different research and data science projects. My background is a bit of a funny one. I actually started as an archaeologist or an archaeological scientist, so I still do work with on archaeological projects, particularly with Historic England and some other European organisations. I'm also a fellow of the Software Sustainability Institute and Elixir UK, because I'm really focused on sustainability, accessibility, open research, which they are also really advocates for. So as I said, I work at the Alan Turing Institute. We are the National Institute for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence in the UK. We're quite a new institute. We were only established in 2015, and we've actually just had a review, and we're sort of having a bit of a transformation at the moment and going to be, we've kind of been doing a bit of everything in data science across all different domains, and we actually are trying to focus more on 3 specific areas. So health research, environmental sustainability, and defence and security as our main areas of research. We have 3 main goals as an institute. So one is about advancing world-class research. So that's really us doing research with other people around the UK and internationally. We also focus on building skills for the future of data science and also driving an informed public conversation around data science and AI. You often see researchers from our institute talking on the news and in newspapers about different topics, particularly at the moment about AI, because that's really in the news. So today I'm really focusing on the building skills for the future of data science. So why is it really important that we need to, as a National Institute, focus on this? Well, in a lot of government documents that have come out, policy papers, data science skills have been shown to be in really high demand in the UK workforce, and the demand actually is only increasing. UK-based job adverts for data scientists and advanced analysts have increased 231%. That's a lot between 2013 and 2018. So I would think even more so now. And also a survey from 2021 found that 48% of UK businesses were recruiting for roles requiring data skills. That included basic IT skills through to more advanced skills such as computer programming. But there's also a reported data skills gap. So the National Data Strategy highlights a lack of definition of data skills and roles. And in the National Audit Office's report on challenges in using data across government, it says there are data skills gaps at several levels. So in data storage and management, architecture, planning and governance. So really across all areas of data skills. So we therefore need to really think about addressing this nationally. And to do this, we need to know something. So we need to know what is actually happening in the data science ecosystem. So what are the current needs, the trends, new areas, future needs, also what roles are now present in data science and emerging in data science. We also need to know what skills are needed. So we need to develop competency frameworks, and this involves mapping skills, knowledge and behaviours for different roles within data science. And then we need to know what training is needed. So, sorry, my notes have gone off the page. So this means mapping training that already exists and then developing training where there are gaps. So this is something I've been thinking about in the last few years and actually doing some research on. And I've come to this conclusion that I think our current narrative around data science is really an unhelpful narrative. And really the most prominent role when you ask someone, so someone in the public, you know, what do you do if you work in data science? They say you're a data scientist. Well, I don't know. I've never been called a data science, and I've worked in data science for quite a long time now. So I think that this focus on this one role that really leads this narrative and claims all the public awareness about roles and jobs in data science is very unhelpful for us, particularly thinking about bringing new people into the data science workforce. And this is really an unhelpful narrative, but also this focus on one role, they're often put out there as a unicorn data scientist. So the idea is that this person has all of the skills that they need to do all of the things that are needed in data science. So this is a myth, because nobody can have all of the skills to do all of the different complex tasks in data science. So we need to change this narrative, really. So it's really important to think about this evolving data science landscape. We've seen the release of large language models in the last year, and that they are really revolutionizing how we are working in lots of different areas, not just data science areas, but across all different sectors, really. And there's also constant change in the types of skills that are needed in this particular area. So this evolving landscape really means that there is a growing need for people with specialized skills, where AI, data science, and also things like open research are now being integrated into all sectors and all domains. And this gives us a different focus and really requires us to think differently about how we do data science or research in academic sector or in other sectors as well, because obviously data science goes on in all sectors now. So this landscape really is causing, so this landscape of there being skills needs and also these particular challenges are really leading to even more skills needed in data science. I think there's particularly a need to fill gaps in things like thinking about research quality. So really to try and overcome the lack of confidence that there really is particularly in research around the reproducibility crisis. And that means that we need to really embed transparent, reproducible skills and practices and systems into research. And that means we need to employ people with those skills, so people who have experience of open research practices, and also specialist knowledge and skills of these practices and how to do open research in data science. There's also a need to think about research sustainability. So we all know we're kind of going through this global climate and environmental crisis. How do we actually deal with that in data science? Well, we need specialist people to think about how we make all the things we do very sustainable. We also need to think about the energy as well that we use in data science. I don't think that's really actually thought about enough. We also need to think about interdisciplinarity, because data science, as I said, is a team pursuit, really. We need to think about how do we bring all these people together? And Luke was talking about soft skills. They are really, really important as technical skills in data science. So we need people who can really focus on or are specialists in these soft skills to bring people together so that they can exchange knowledge, collaborate, and things like translate research into different domains and for wider audiences. And then also we really need to address equity, diversity, inclusion and accessibility in data science. So this actually requires specialists to do this, to really embed these practices into the work that we do in data science. So what I'm really trying to advocate for is diversifying roles in data science, and we're already seeing this happening. This is just a nice illustration from the Turing Way project. We're quite famous for our illustrations. You can see one behind me, just showing some of the different roles that I know of that work in data science teams. Again, these are quite specialist roles, actually. So you can see things like data wranglers that change data, standardized data, things like community managers, data librarians, ethicists, all sorts of different roles that are emerging and happening in the data science ecosystem. So I've been conducting a research project about this for the last few years to try and move this narrative away from the data scientist and actually towards a narrative of a team of data science professionals working together. And really, I've been researching this current landscape, documenting what different roles are out there, what skills they have, and starting to create personas and skills frameworks for some of these roles so that we can make the idea of the data science team more transparent and more out there in the public to see. So I've been working really closely with the Turing Skills team, also with a mentor, Rachel Hillam, who is the chair of the Alliance for Data Science Professionals, and also colleagues from Turing, so Malvika Sharon and Alexandra Ariola Alvarez, and also speaking to people from diverse range of data science organisations from across the UK. So one part of the project I've been doing is developing a case study of the Turing data science teams. And I've been basing this work on a framework that has been the Bridge AI framework that's been developed by a colleague of mine in the skills team called Matt Forshaw, and he's working on the Bridge AI program, and he's developed this Bridge AI framework, and he's focusing on AI skills. But I've actually repurposed this to think more broadly about data science and AI professionals as a persona. This case study includes this overall umbrella persona, but also personas for the different roles you can see here on the slide, which are the roles that we have within our data science teams. And it also has a narrative around it about how we work in these interdisciplinary teams. I hate to say it's not published yet, it's just about to be published, but I've done a podcast about it, which you can see on the slides here. And my slides are already available. I'll put the Zenodo link in the chat at the end. So just to show you some of these roles that we have. So Lydia is one of our research data scientists. She's very much a generalist. She has lots of broad skills in working with data and software. We do really focus on open research at Turing. So she has a lot of skills that all research data scientists do in open and reusable tools. And she's also really good at collaborating, which again is part of working in our quite big data science teams and producing this reproducible research that we do. And then we've got our research software engineers. So Jim is one of my colleagues. He really focuses on software development and bringing best practices such as version control, testing, documentation, reusability to that. And he really will help to apply and teach these skills within the project that he's working on. Another thing that I've been developing is really actually diving into some of these roles in more detail. As I said, I'm the co-lead of the research community management team. So myself and my colleagues in the team, we've been developing a skills framework for this particular role that works in data science. And we've been mapping this to the Alliance for Data Science Professional Standards, which you can actually see on their website. I'll try and find a link for you because I realised I haven't put it on my slides. But they have created a set of high-level standards for data science professionals, which is actually used in some university courses and at the moment is going through an accreditation process. So you will be able to apply to become a data science professional and be accredited through this particular organisation. So we've been mapping our skills frameworks to their frameworks. At the moment, I don't think their framework actually captures these diverse data science roles because it's more of a general data science professional role. So that's something that we're starting to work on with some other colleagues at Turing, is to kind of expand these standards to really define these different sorts of data science roles, the more specialised ones. So what are we doing next? So I've been kind of doing this exploration. And actually, we've already moved on to a new project called People in Data, which started this January. And this project is focusing on really the unrecognised roles within data science. So these are things like data steward, data wranglers. And it's a 3-year programme to convene an open community of data professionals, really convening existing communities, because there's a lot of domain-specific communities out there of data professionals. So we want to bring these together to think very broadly about this issue of sort of professionalisation of these more specialised roles. And we really want to promote a culture that values and prioritises data and the people that work in these data roles. So the links here, you can link to our website to find out more information. And we have a contact form as well, where you can get onto our kind of mailing list. I'm not doing this alone. I've talked about working in a team. So this is the team I'm working with. So we have a core team that works at the Turing Institute, but we have lots of partners as well that we're working with, because this is a very national level project. And you'll notice that our partners are very diverse, and that's the idea. We're really trying to work across different domains, across different sectors, and that really do things like sharing knowledge, repurposing training materials across different domains and sectors, and really bringing together this data science professionals community at a very national level. And what are we actually going to do? So again, convening the community. So we formed a working group with these partners. We're going to be starting to have community events. We're having a champion scheme, which is a bit like a fellowship scheme. And we're going to be having a conference at the end. We're doing a large amount of work around the skills and capacity building. So we are, again, moving forward this work that I've been starting in the project I was already talking about, the Professionalising Diverse Data Skills, Data Science Roles project. We're going to be mapping these competencies and personas and building training courses where there are gaps that we can find within current training resources that are out there. And then our last thing to do on this project is actually to make a business case for how to sustain this community going forward, because we do think it's something that is actually needed in this area to kind of bring people together. I'm going to just go through this. So I've kind of talked about the kind of research work we're doing, the community building work we're doing. I'm just going to talk a bit more about other projects that we're doing at Turing that you might be interested in if you are thinking of coming into data science as a career. So I've already touched on that I work with the Turing Way project. So this is a really big open source project. We build this open source guide to best practices in data science. We have a really big community, a global community of, it's not just data scientists, researchers who come together and talk about reproducible, ethical, collaborative and inclusive research. We are a totally open source project, so you can see everything we do. It's based on GitHub and you can go in there and see everything that we do. This week we're actually doing a hackathon, so I've actually just been there this morning. It's all online and I've just come here, dashed in here, and I'll go back shortly. We're very big on collaboration. We want lots of people to collaborate with us. I think we have over 450 collaborators on our project so far, so it's quite a large project. From the Turing Skills team, they have a number of initiatives that people can apply for. So we have a totally open online learning platform, which has lots of different courses in data science and AI. It's totally free and open to anybody. There's courses on ethics, visualization, responsible AI, and lots more on there. The link is in the slide. So as I say, I'll put the Zenodo link in the chat at the end. We also have data study groups, which you can apply to be on. These are a week-long kind of hackathons, and it's an actual research project that you do for a week. You can apply to be like the lead of the project, the PI, or you can apply to be part of the team. And really, it's about knowledge exchange. It's about applying your skills in this real world challenge. And I've done a couple of them myself. I also teach a course on it. So you would, if you do one, you'll see me popping up. I think they're really, really valuable. And quite a lot of these data study group projects have actually moved on to be research projects at the Turing because they're really, really valuable as kind of pilot projects for us. If you're a PhD student, you can actually come to us for an enrichment scheme. We do that annually. It's 6 to 9 months where you can come to the Turing office to work, and that really is sort of upskilling you in lots of different courses and also working with research projects that we have ongoing at the time. We also do a Turing internship network, which is 6-month placements with different partner organisations and different programmes within the Turing as well. So if you want to keep in touch with our skills team, we have a skills newsletter, which is linked on there, or there's an email address there. You can email them. And just finally, I just want to say thanks very much. This is definitely not all my work. We work in big teams at Turing, as I've said. So thanks to all these people who are working with me. Also, just to highlight, if you look at my slides, there's also some more examples at the end of different, we call them research infrastructure roles, which are a lot of the different specialist roles that we have at Turing and in our data science teams, even across the UK have them. So I've put lots of extra information about different types of roles in my presentation, which I won't go through now because we don't have time. So thanks very much for listening.
So much, Emma. That was really interesting. We've got lots of questions.
Great.
Right, I will go back. Also, actually, you spoke about inclusivity as part of data science. We've got a session actually later on this afternoon, so I'll pop the link for that in the chat, which may be of interest to people in this session. I'm going to scroll up. So, a question for the data school: can it be done remotely if you're not based in London?
Hi, yeah, we get asked this quite a lot. Unfortunately, the training period is in person. It works much better that way. So during COVID, for obvious reasons, it was all remote, and that works fine. But it's not a very good experience for either the trainers or the learners if half the class are in the room and half are dialing in. So we also find that people make quite strong friendships within their group as well. And we've had one recently go on holiday together after they all finished their placements. We give them the week off and then they went off together on that. So in terms of the placements afterwards, we have a variety of kind of working scenarios in terms of some clients are entirely remote in terms of the projects, and some are in the office 5 days a week, and others are a kind of combination of both. So it entirely depends on where you're placed. But we do have regional clients, and that is an option. But really, we need people to be able to work in London if needed.
So kind of following on from that, a question I've combined two. Do you offer visa sponsorship? And what's the current policy on helping people to relocate for an in-person role?
Right. Unfortunately, we don't offer visa sponsorship. I think, you know, if you can arrange a visa, we do have some people who are on spousal visas, for example. We also have one person in particular who's done a PhD. If you're not qualified to work in the UK, if you do a PhD, you get 3 years afterwards in the post-study work visa. I think it's 2 years with a master's, which doesn't quite work out with the length of our contract. And yeah, I'm afraid we don't help people relocate.
So Emma, can you please clarify how people can engage with you, especially on the Turing Way book as well as hackathons?
Yeah, so the Turing Way is a completely open project. The best thing to do is we have a start page, and I'll actually put that in the chat. I've put the link to my slides, so there's lots and lots of links on the slides, but I'll put that here. So we actually have regular we call them collaboration cafes. They happen twice a month on Wednesday afternoons, and anybody can come to those. They're completely open. And you can come and chat to us about anything really that's related to our project. We really love people coming in and chatting to us about new things we're not thinking about. And you can just come in and hear what we're all chatting about. It's generally something to do with open AI at the moment, or data governance or ethics or something like that we might be talking about. Data management is another thing we talk quite a lot about. And then we do have hackathons, which happen twice a year. And again, anyone can apply for those. So you just, the best thing to do probably is join our newsletter, and then you'll get that in your mailbox every month.
Lovely, thank you. Next up, there's another question. If you think that age is a barrier to moving into data science, in my 40s and currently doing an MSc in data science, I'm a bit concerned that I might struggle to find a junior trainee data science role due to my age.
I can answer that.
Go for it, Luke.
It's an awkward pause. So from my perspective, absolutely, it's not a barrier to people changing career. Certainly at the data school, we've had several people who are in their mid to late 40s go through the program. We've got someone who's currently in their mid 40s as well, and all of them have made very, very good consultants. And I think that if someone was to ask me who my ideal candidate was for our business, I would say that would be a career changer. There are exceptions to every rule, and we have some very, some great consultants who are recent graduates. But I think if you've got some more life experience, regardless really of what industry that's in, you will be in a very good position to change career. So certainly, it's not a barrier from my end.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Luke. I think that I think when you see something that says junior or trainee role, it has nothing to do with your age. People change careers now, throughout their career. I have to say, I have done this several times. As I said, I started as an archaeologist. I had a PhD, and then I actually couldn't find a job. So I actually went off and I trained as a teacher. So I actually worked in schools as a science teacher for quite a few years. And then I've come back into academia and sort of specialize in open research and data science since then. So actually my data science career really is quite new to me. I would say probably from about 2016, maybe, I was sort of starting to come back in and starting to learn all of the data science skills that I didn't have, because I didn't have them. I don't have a degree in computer science. I've done, like Luke's trainees, I've done training in the things that I've needed to do, so R and things like that I've trained in, and data. I very much specialize in open data, data management and publishing, that sort of thing, archiving. So all those data management skills I've had to learn kind of on the job, or done courses to kind of make myself progress in those ways. But I also totally agree with Luke that people with experience in different domains different workplaces is really good experience, like for data science careers, because it is quite a complex job often, and you do need that balance of some technical skills and a lot of soft skills as well to kind of navigate, like what I can think Luke's got these clients he's trying to deal with, have got specific needs. We're working on research projects, so we have different partners that have different needs, and actually moving through research and data science, you have to have these really good soft skills, I think, to be able to kind of navigate that way forward in the projects that you work on. So yeah, so don't be put off. Age is just a number.
Lovely. Thank you so much. We're out of time, unfortunately. We could have, I think there's lots of questions, but we're out of time. Thank you so much to Luke and Emma for joining us today. Please feel free to join some more events in Data Week. This is an annual thing that we do. So we have a feedback form. If you could please fill it in, you have a chance to win a £50 voucher. And we try and improve Data Week every year, so we can only do that with your feedback. I'll just pop on the screen a QR code, and that's how you can stay in touch with us on all the different platforms. But thank you for attending, and again, thank you to Luke and Emma for talking to us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Take care. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye.